Good morning, and also welcome to our podcast, 1,000 Little MS Things. I'm here today. I'm Claire Jens. I'm here with my friend Claudia today.
Hi.
We've got our MS friend, Naomi.
Hello.
Yes, our MS community friend, and we're going to discuss MS things today.
Perfect. Let's go. So, do you want to ask maybe Naomi to...
So, Naomi, do you want to talk about your MS journey so far, if you can?
Oh, okay. It has been a really long one and kind of starts a long way back. So I'll try to keep it sort of a little bit shorter because it sort of stems from, I guess, I had a lot of health anxiety when I was probably around about 16 when my mum had a seizure. And for a while, they didn't really know what it was either. And she died sort of some couple of years later of a brain tumor. And so that's kind of where I started really worrying about my health, and I guess where I kind of feel like my MS even started, even though I know there's no proof to that. Wow. But then my sister also suffered the same. She got a brain tumor, a GBS, one of the worst brain tumors you can get, and she died, I think it was about 10 years to the day my mother did. Wow. So she went through the same journey, and my very first symptom was this sort of headaches and a bit of numbness, and I was convinced that I either had a brain tumor or MS, because my brother had also been diagnosed with MS, primary progressive MS, and he was a bit older than me, and we'd been estranged for some time, so I couldn't even ask him about it. I talk to him now, but back then I wasn't talking to him. So I went in for an MRI after, I guess, 3 years of going to doctors and saying, I've got numbness in my hands, I've got tingling, I feel just weird, and they'd say it's anxiety, it's all in your head, you need to go and see a psychiatrist, which I did. And then I had other weird symptoms, like I was running once and fell over, and then I had this numbness down one side of my arm. But again, it went away, and I told the doctors, and they said, pinched nerve, you'll be fine. It's nothing to worry about. And it got to the point where this numbness in my hand started spreading to my feet, and then it was going up to my knees. And I finally got a referral to get a MRI. That came back as completely normal. They said, there's nothing wrong with you. You haven't got a brain tumor, nor have you got MS. We can tell. Like, you're fine. But then it kept going on and on and on. And by this stage, I was having Panadol like 4 or 5 times a day. I was having my maximum dose, and I was just in agony. And I went to a neurologist, who then said I had peripheral neuropathy caused by drinking. And I said, but I don't drink any more than, I guess, I partied a bit. I lived in London. I've had, a bit of that in my 20s and 30s, but I certainly don't drink bottles of Jack Daniels every night. And she said, it doesn't take much. I think you've definitely got peripheral neuropathy. It's not MS. We've seen your scan, and sent me away with a drug called amitriptyline, a nerve pain drug, which did help. But again, this numbness kept coming, and it just wouldn't go away. And so I thought, I'm just going to get a second opinion. And so I went to another neurologist in the city this time. I live on the Mornington Peninsula, so I'd just gone to a local neurologist. So I went to another neurologist, who is now my current one, and everything's triage these days, as you probably know. So it took me 2 months to even have her look at my scan. And she said, your other neurologist didn't even look at the proper scan, because I had a scan with contrast, with dye, which you're very familiar with, I'm sure, Claire. Yeah. And this doctor said, you've got MS. And I remember being on the phone. I was at my daughter's school sport event, and they said it was that urgent that they had to do it via Zoom, because I said, I can't get up to the city. I'm an hour and a half away. I live an hour and a half away. And they said, look, she really needs to speak to you. Can you do a teleconference? And I said, sure, I'm on my phone. And I was watching my daughter's sport, and she's saying, yeah, you've got MS, and you've got 12 lesions on your spine and your neck, and we need to see you. And I was in shock. I kind of knew it in a sense, but I was still in shock that how could they get it so wrong? Well, I've had radiographers reading that report. I've had another neurologist. And so then it started from there. And that's when I went in there, and she said, this numbness will never go. Because I said, well, what are you going to do? Like, what can I have? What drug can I have that can fix this? And she said, look, that will probably be with you, but these are your options. And so, and then when I explained all my feelings from years of what had been going on, she's like, that sounds like you've had it for probably 5 or 6 years, maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's sort of when I then got to, I've had what have I had? 3 Ocrevus. I'm on my 4th Ocrevus infusion soon.
Good.
And I'm now talking to my brother, and unfortunately because he's got primary progressive, he's got a lot worse than me, and his sort of decline has been, I guess, a little more, mine's sort of steady at the moment. He's I think they said to him, he's got no more lesions like after 5 years, but his symptoms are getting worse, which I still don't understand. You probably know a lot more about that than what I do, because I'm still trying to educate myself, because the doctors don't really educate you or tell you what to expect.
They won't, no. But your brother, is he on any treatment at all, your brother? Any drugs for him?
He's on Ocrevus as well.
Good.
But they said to him, it probably won't do you any good. I mean, that's what they said to him. And I said, you have to have you have to see someone else. And I'm trying to encourage him to go and get another opinion. And because he was, he worked as a lawyer, because he can't get insurance anymore because he's got lesions on his brain, his lesions. So you're not covered. So he can't work anymore.
Oh, wow.
So he's and he's divorced. So it's a difficult situation when, he's on a frame as well. My walking is okay. It's just that after I walk every day, after about an hour, I would have to go and sit down and rest for a bit, because my legs will be aching. But I feel kind of lucky that I am okay at the moment, but I know that can change. So I'm just...
Yeah, can I ask, because you're both on Ocrevus, may I ask what your experiences have been like, if they've been similar? Because I know it's been really good for you, Claire. If you want to talk more on that.
Ocrevus for me, I've been on now, I think 4 years, and it's brilliant, and I love it, because I think, touch wood, I've stayed my MRI is very constant, they're the same each time, it's very stable, and side effects is 0. Compared to other drugs,
I don't have any side effects either.
I've been on drugs over the years. It's been 20 years, 25 years. So the drugs over the years have been horrible. This one now, Ocrevus, it's just beautiful, because I take it every 2 months, every twice a year, and infusions. And then on the day, I'm a bit tired, that's all, but otherwise nothing. Whereas in the past, I was sick as a dog it's horrible. But now I feel much more, just like an appointment. Go to the hospital, have my 2 hours of my infusion, and that's it, nothing. And it feels I feel really lucky. That's all that happens to me now.
Yep, that's exactly my experience. I don't have any side effects. Like the Ocrevus is easy compared to when I had the what do they call the one where they put the injection in your spine, the to confirm MS. It's the one where
lumbar puncture.
Yeah, lumbar puncture.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
I forget sometimes. I forget words for things. I'm like, that thing when you do this. My friends were like, yep, that one. That was the worst experience of my whole MS diagnosis, I think, having that.
Lumbar punctures are notoriously pretty horrible things to have, because depends on the person who does it to you. Because I've had 2, and they're actually, the first person who does it to you, if you get a really, really good person, it's not it's like having an epidural for having babies. It's like that kind of feeling. But you can have them where I was in a hospital with the guy beside me was having his done. He was a man, a strong man, he was crying. Because so much pain. I thought, poor guy. Then she beside me in a hospital, probably not aware of what was going to happen to him, but he was lying there. And I could see these tears coming down his eyes. It was just so awful to watch. He's a big, strong man. Oh, not good.
Yeah, awful. But I'm glad. Yeah, so Ocrevus has been, because I don't really know, apart from my brother, I don't really know anyone. None of my friends have got MS, but the Ocrevus has kept his lesions at bay. So I'm hoping they'll do the same. I actually had scan at Christmas time, and again, the doctor doesn't ring you and tell you the results. I'm waiting to go and see her in February to find out, like, have I got any more lesions? And then I'll be telling myself, maybe she didn't want to ring me at Christmas time to ruin my Christmas, or like you start inventing things because I've been gassed.
We're on the same page, because I had my scan, my MRI was done in December just past, and I was in my doctor in February. So you have no idea for 2 months what's going to happen now. I hope it's, I touch wood, I think it's hopefully be the same, be the same, but you don't know until you go see them.
No,
and when you see them, when you see your neurologist, they're like God, because they kind of know everything about your brain. And then you go see them, and your sessions with them are like 5 minutes. maybe 10 if you're lucky. So you wait all year to see this person. You walk in the room, eventually you're at the time to go and see the person, and you walk in, you hi and talk to them. They go, yeah, you're fine. You're okay today. And then you walk out, and that's it. For a year, you wait for this. That's it. You have no other time.
The parking fine for Ocrevus, because there's no parking around the hospital that I have to drive to. Like, it's 2-hour spots. I'm like, how am I meant to walk out with a drip in my arm and top up my parking when I'm doing it on my own? Like, just ridiculous.
Do you ever disabled park in your car?
No. You know what? I don't know if this is the same.
I have one.
In Victoria, I can't get that, because technically under the NDIS, I can walk and stand up for an hour without being assisted, or a half an hour without being assisted. So I'm not allowed to get any help with anything. My brother has assistants like a cleaner and a gardener, because he actually can't physically do it. But you have to be, they've changed the rules because of a lot of people rorting the system down here. I can't even get that. And I said to them, I can't walk like miles and miles and miles, like surely. And when I got a parking fine, and they're reviewing it, so we'll see what happens.
Good. Because I got DP, my disabled pass, I use it a lot because I can't walk enough to do it otherwise. But I think it also allows you to be more like a regular person, because you just go somewhere and park up. And I don't drive at all, by the way. My husband drives me, but I can go somewhere and I can get out of the car, and I'm rushing. No, not rushing. If I can't do things very fast, I don't have to worry about being a parking fine. It's like, it makes it a bit more stressful.
Yeah. And then I feel bad because I know I can walk, and then I kind of feel I haven't applied for it anyway, but those disabled parks are for people that really do need it, because my brother has one and you have one, and people that do need it. So I get that. But it's just kind of like, if you're going in there for an infusion, and it's pretty hard. And probably the same as you, when I go in there, I actually feel I'm lucky. There's so many people in there with cancer.
Worse, yeah.
So many horrible things in there, and it's awful.
It's probably a feeling that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, thinking, oh, there's someone who's got it worse than me. But in the end, you're sick, and you're suffering from this disease, and you're getting a parking fine because you're getting treatment. There's literally nothing fair about that at all.
It's ridiculous, but at least this drug so far so good. So I'm hoping I don't have any other lesions, but like, you don't know, do you? Because you can still have side effects, you can still have symptoms, flares and all that, but it might not be related to a actual lesion.
Yeah, it's quite. I know somebody who I read somewhere who had MS and had one lesion on their brain and was in a wheelchair. Couldn't walk at all. So lesion, where they actually are, is relevant to how your body works, because one lesion in the wrong place can really wreck your brain and make you walking forever. So I have lots of lesions, but I can still, I can't walk very well. I can like stumble along, okay, but I'm not. People can be much worse. But then my friend over in England, she had a lesion and she was in a wheelchair her whole life.
Yeah. I know, I don't, it's so hard, because when they said I had 12, I'm like, oh, what does that mean?
I know, exactly.
So, nothing. It actually just depends exactly what you said, the spot it's in. And then I read the report, and it says like extensive damage to my whatever. And I'm like, oh God, what does that mean? And the doctor's like, just don't read it. It doesn't matter. It's about how you feel and how you're getting along every day. Don't sort of read into all that. It's just about how you are. Because I remember, you would have had the test, obviously, where they did strength and all that when I first was diagnosed. That's why I passed all those tests. There was no issues with my balance. There was no issues with anything. They just said, you're quite strange with my symptoms.
You're strange. It's a bit rough. You're quite strange. I get it. No, you're lucky. You're doing well, which is good. We're not lucky, but in some way doing well.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. And I do. I think it definitely changed my perspective on feeling with life, and with I've got a 12-year-old daughter. She's on school holidays. She's down there somewhere on the phone, but I feel lucky that I can still do things with her and get around and take her to things and go to the beach and do all that. And it does change your perspective on, I used to just be more worried about, I don't know, I want to go and buy this, I want to do that. And I just don't care anymore. I just love going down to the beach and having my dip with my girlfriends in the morning, and just simplify it. It's actually kind of helped me be a better person in a really weird way.
No, I think it's
exactly what you always say.
We appreciate what you can do way more now, because things have been taken away from you. So what you can do, you're so grateful for it.
Yeah,
I am. I'm grateful every day I can walk. I think it's a great thing to be able to do anything and see my friends and see my husband and just hang out with people. It's a gift. I'm lucky.
Yeah. And it's that sort of thing. I'm sure you've probably thought this too. Like, you just don't have any time for rubbish anymore. Like, I've got like little stuff and all that. I'm just like, no, I'm sorry. I've gone through enough. I'm going through enough. I don't have time for this. Like, life's too short.
It is. Well said. I think that we see what's important in life and what's relevant and what really, really matters, and you get rid of the shit. Those things don't matter anymore. So just to be more focused on what's important, I think. There's a better word for it.
Such a good perspective, and it still blows my mind hearing, people who suffer like both of you coming, with that gratitude. And it's really like, for anyone listening, whether they're suffering or they're not, it is just like, you guys are true warriors. Thank you for saying that, because I think that is important for people to hear,
It is.
Oh, it is, because I'm new compared to what Claire's gone for so long, and I just thought my life was over. I remember my teacher at school had it, and it was the MS readathon, and
I did that.
Thought, I'm going to go blind. I'm going to go, and I remember seeing one of your very vulnerable posts, Claire, where you were sort of having that bit of a meltdown of that too, and I could really relate, because I'm like, that's exactly what I thought. I'm not going to be able to see. I'm not going to be able to walk. What's the point? I'm going to end up, just in an awful way. But I know that that's not necessarily exactly the way things are going to go at all.
That post I put on my page a while back was when I was really, really, I'd done a fall. I had lots of falls. And when you have falls in MS, people know falls in MS are pretty bad. And I had lots of falls where I've broken various bones or various things. And I kind of, that moment, that post is me at my worst, and I think it's kind of probably good to be able to see that, because actually it does. I mean, I'm trying to be upbeat most of the time, and I'm upbeat a lot of the time, but occasionally I'm really, really down, because that happens, because it's really, really hard to be this sick for so long. 25 years is a long time to be sick, and it gets very. In the end, I try and be strong and trying to be upbeat all the time, but eventually I'm like, I'm just so sick of this. And I think I see friends and I see people do things I can't do, and I think I just can't do these things. And when you know what's been taken away from you, when you've been stolen from you, and you had that one day, and it was good as gold then. And I think, where did it go? It's so unfair. But
it is, and I saw, because I really I guess related to your love, because I grew up with horses too, and I just adore horses, and I want to get back to riding. We don't have a property where I live now, but I grew up on a property. And I'm like, I could still ride. Like, I know I can still hop on a horse because my balance is okay. And so I'm going to want to get back into riding. So it's kind of made me sort of want to look at the things that I can do. And that was a real passion that I loved as well.
I'm glad. That's good to know, because I think it's one of the things about horse riding. You feel, as I said, I think my post said that the horse has got such good balance and uses all that's perfectly healthy. So I think on a horse, I feel strong and I feel able and I can do things. So it's like the horse is my legs, which is really nice.
Yeah, and you also, I guess, don't have to ride. You can just be with them, which is such a calming, beautiful thing, isn't it? To like just be with animals.
Yeah, I love that part too.
Sort of really, just that sort of calm presence. And I find that when I go where I live near the beach, and pods of dolphins often come out and will just be swimming around us, and I'm just like, this is amazing.
That's incredible.
That's magic.
Yeah, and just feeling grateful.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you do say that about the dolphins. I can come in and you feel like from your email that that you're sick, and from being with Claire from the start of her, in the last few years with her horse journey, for all of us who were around it, really noticed that the horses never once pushed Claire or knocked her over. And they had this real awareness that she was sick.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing to experience.
It's like a really a bizarre, amazing thing to watch, is that I walk up to them, or I go up to them, and they kick other people. They never kicked me ever.
Never.
I think they know that I'm not well.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And my cats, we've got a couple of cats, and my cat will often he'll just sleep under, he'll literally gets under the covers. I got a Burmese, and he'll just cuddle up to me. Or even if I'm having a bit of a bad moment, I lay on my bed thinking I can't get work at the moment because I work as a producer in advertising. It's been so quiet, and I haven't come out and sort of told anyone in my industry that I've got this, probably because I'm still a little bit almost afraid of it, afraid of what people think. I shouldn't be, I know, but it's kind of just that, they're not going to hire me because I've got MS, And I remember, from your film, that was a long time ago, but you were obviously, the way you were treated was not great.
Yeah, it's different.
I can relate
to that too. You feel like people will ignore you or look over you, or just leave you out of things. They do that, but it's
And it's only new for Claire, being confident in your disease. And
that's true. For many years, I never spoke to anyone about it. So I was healthier then, and I didn't really tell anyone. And then I had a big giant attack. My husband passed away in 2013, and I got really sick. I had a really horrible attack, and I was in hospital a long time, blah, blah. And I got worse. And from then on, I couldn't hide anymore. So things were, obviously I was sick. So I started being more kind of brave with telling people. And I wore my T-shirts, my MS T-shirts, and I got more kind of, not angry about it, just more kind of proud about it, I guess. I was like, fuck you, I'm sick. And I kind of go on with things. It's like, well, it's just how it is. I'm really sick, and I'm just trying to live my life. And I hope it sounded well.
Do you feel like that's helped you?
I think being more honest about things, to be more proud, but be more what word is the word for it? I can't find words.
Owning it.
The words there. I'm owning it now. I'm just like, I'm not going to hide it anymore.
I think I'm still sort of coming to terms with that thing of owning it, because embarrassing things happen, and a funny thing that happens, and not even with my girlfriends, not the even the ones without MS, or I don't have any friends with it, but like even to people, I should say, without MS, is the toilet situation. I've just got to know when I've got to go before I go out for a walk or something, because there's times where I'm like ringing up my girlfriend going, Lee, is your house open? I'm going to have to run inside. And we will laugh about that now, because she's like, that's happened to me, Naomi, and I don't have MS, all right? So
toilets, I think in the MS world, toilets are pretty much the top thing for everyone. I think most people, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure MS sufferers, on the whole, toilets are an issue.
Yeah.
But varying degrees of urgency, but it's always an issue. Whereas other things, it changes who's got what. But MS toilets are a pretty big deal. So, and my friends now know that as well. Everyone knows. My toilet's way worse than everyone, but I figure it out. It's not pretty.
It's just that planning, isn't it? When we went overseas last year, and I was a bit wary of some of the little Italian towns, but we just I worked out, okay, there's a bathroom there. I need to go, or I've got to go before I leave the little Airbnb before we go somewhere, and we're just going to have to wait a while.
Public toilets are hard to come by. You find it. Most countries, it seems public toilets are simply vanishing by the second, it seems. And so public toilets or toilets anyone can use. But I've go into pubs and I walk into anywhere to toilets. I look pleading and I say, I need to go to the toilet now. I'm like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. The thing people don't understand, no, it's now. There's no.
It's not like waiting for another half hour.
5 minutes. It's now.
It's now. So you look at you and think, oh, well, too late. Oops. Yeah, that happens. But it's just like no one dies. I mean, my thing is, no one dies. You're okay. Who cares? We doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But
it's sometimes one of those things when you just need it, when you tell your partner or your friends, you just need them to say that friggin' sucks.
It does.
That sucks.
That's true. Yeah, it sucks. It's just really, it's also demeaning, and it shouldn't be, but it is. Because society makes you feel really bad.
Yeah, it is. It's like when I was first diagnosed and someone rang me and they'd left a message saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And it was just the worst thing. It's like I actually hadn't told them yet, and they'd heard it and sort of left this message before I even had a chance. And that sort of thing is one thing I'd like to sort of say to people, like if you find out someone's got it, wait for them to tell you, because I still hadn't been formally diagnosed and I was still waiting.
You're probably coming to terms with it yourself as well. You don't even know how to say, oh, yeah, it's really bad. You're probably still trying to mentally get your head around it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I didn't know there were different types. I just thought MS was MS. I didn't even know until I did it. They said, now we're going to find it. We're going to tell you which type. And I'm like, are you sure it's this one? Because I've never even, heard of primary progressive or secondary progressive or benign something. So I'm like, could mine be benign? They're like, no.
You've got second. I'm sure it's primary. It's relapsing remitting. Is that right?
Relapsing remitting. Yeah. She said that's the really common one. You've just got the common one, so it's all right. And I'm like, oh God.
It is the best one.
Can you guys explain maybe for listeners, someone who, a family member that could be listening, if they know someone that's just being diagnosed, what are the different types? And if you can just give a brief explanation.
There's primary progressive, which is I think what your brother's got. When you get diagnosed and you're basically sick from that day, you don't get better. You just stay sick and you'll get better, worse and worse and worse. That's the worst one, I think. Then secondary progressive is when I've now got that, but I think when you first get relapsing remitting, so it goes primary progressive, relapsing remitting, and then you got benign, which is nothing really, one attack ever, no again. But then the secondary progressive is one from relapsing remitting goes to secondary percussive.
Okay.
So you graduate to that. So I graduated to that. Yay! But no, I have graduated. Yes.
I didn't even know that. Does everyone graduate to secondary?
No, not really. No, lots don't. So it's just, but a lot of people with primary that's enriching MS, as your lesions get more and more, and your brain. I think what happens. My belief, the way I look at it, is that the messages that are trying to get to your brain to do things, the messages get slower and slower and slower. So your brain gets more and more damaged, I guess, and you get more disabled over time. Then you go to secondary. Then you go to this one, secondary percussive, which is what I have. Where things are you don't recover. You don't have relapses and get better from them. You just stay where you are and you just slowly go down. Ooh, like a little tiny gradual decline. I'm trying to make my decline quite gradual. But you take drugs, you take medication, and you stay healthy and you be strong. And I go to the gym to stay strong, because I think that I'm a big believer that keeping just regular muscle strength.
Yeah, I've got to do more of that.
Yeah, because falls, I mean, this is my belief, and I'm saying I'm right here, the falls for MS sufferers are pretty much common, and falls can be really bad. So I just say to everyone, just keep your muscles keep your strength as much as you can, because falls will happen. It's going to happen. So make sure falls, you're better. You can learn to fall and fall less, which I've learned to do. I've broken all sorts of things, and I just had breaks here and toes broken and back broken, all sorts of things have happened. But I just trying to go to the gym twice a week to stay strong, to not have more falls. That's my kind of hope.
But yeah, I'm going to get onto that, because I do a lot of cardio, try to keep like walking and fit. But I did go to a neurophysio who said that, yeah, I've got to keep up the strength, which my brother does too, because he had a fall and broke his back, and he was in hospital for 8 weeks on his back because it was the tiles of the bathroom.
Yes, bathrooms. I think the two things that are bad for MS people are stairs and bathrooms. Because stairs, you'll fall down. Falling downstairs is like a regular occurrence for me. That's a bad one. Then tiles, they're slippery and wet. Disaster. So you'll fall over for sure, which I've done several times. So don't try to avoid bathrooms, which you can't do, of course, but just trying to avoid wet bathrooms.
And you have that good mat in your bathroom,
Mats everywhere in your bathroom. In your shower, have a mat. They're very grippy little like child mats, really little kind of the mats that hit you on the bathroom, on the floor in the shower, so don't fall over in the shower.
I'm more spatial awareness. I bump into things a lot.
Yeah, bruises. I have little bruises on me all the time for bumping into things. all the time.
I always like go into the bathroom like, how did I misjudge that wall right there?
Yeah, I do that too. I hit things thinking, how did I do it again? Oh my God, did I hit that little tiny things? I just kind of just misjudge each time. I've done it again. Another bruise, that's my thoughts there.
And Naomi, you were saying as well that you suffer like quite a bit of brain fog and forgetfulness. I know that's similar to Claire. How's that experience been for you?
It's actually not. I mean, most of the time it's pretty good. It's just some words I forget. And then my husband will go, oh, that's just normal. That's getting older. That's just because you're in your 50s now. And maybe it is, I don't know, because my brain fog is actually, because I don't have lesions on my brain, so I don't know whether I'm using that as an excuse that I actually am just getting older. But they said mine are all on my spine and, around my neck up here. So I don't know, but I don't know. It doesn't make sense that I'm like I bump into things, because that has to be from my brain. So
is your sight ever damaged at all?
Sorry?
Is your sight ever damaged at all? Have you any sight issues with MS? No?
No, not with my sight. No, I've never had the optic, which I was terrified about, optic neuritis, because when my mother got her brain tumour, she had a little bit of issues with sight of where the tumour was and operated on, and my sister a little bit too when she got operated on, and like multiple times to try and get rid of the tumour. And so I was, like I said, I was convinced I sort of had brain tumour. I just thought they've both had it, so I will have to have it as well. So it's kind of that relief when they did say it was MS as well. I'm like, at least I know what it is.
It's not a brain tumour, it's just MS. It's different.
Yeah, but it still worries me. I don't know if you have this. It worries me that my child's going to get it.
But I believe that my boys, I have 3 boys, and my youngest boy said to me before that when he had a problem with his eyesight, he goes, Mum, I've got MS. I said, no, you haven't MS. I think that also, I'm a strong believer that our kids, MS will be either cured or when our kids get older, I reckon they'll be able to have medication or whatever they can do. Their MS journeys will be far better than ours.
Yeah. No, I was reading the other day, they're doing trials on myelin repair.
Yes, I really want to. Yeah, that's myelin repair is my kind of goal, the holy grail for MS. Because if you can fix what's happened to our brains in it so far, if I can fix what's happened to me, I'll get better. I'll be so happy.
So how does the myelin repair work?
But apparently brains and neuros can either refute me or not, but brains have a capacity to get better by themselves. But apparently we have some weird thing in our brains where we turn off some certain receptor. We turn it off by just do, and so they're trying to make that receptor sort of slow down so that our brains can actually fix themselves by themselves. Wow. So this receptor thing will just stop working, which would be good, and because it's turning off repair itself, but we have to turn it back on again, which we apparently can do soon, and then our brains can start repairing themselves. It'd just be magic if that happened.
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? Because they sort of described to me like, or the neurophysio actually said to me, because that your body's so smart, it will try and find other ways to get you to walk or do whatever it is that's hard. But they find alternate routes, alternate routes. So it's kind of having this myelin repair would be like, so it will repair the damage that I already have in my spine, where I maybe wouldn't wake up with the numbness and tingling and burning sensation in my hands and legs every day. Would be amazing. Like it's not unbearable, it's just uncomfortable. And on hot days, like I was out at my little girl had a nippers tournament, and it was like a 35-degree day on the beach, and it was just, my legs were just burning.
Yeah.
And you feel awful because people were trying to sort of get me to volunteer, and I had to tell them in the end, I said, I'm sorry, I've got MS. I actually can't be one of these people with the vest on doing stuff, because there'll be a time where I might have to run to the bathroom or just run and sit down. I can't literally do it. I'm not trying to, you feel like you're skiving of your volunteering. I'd love to volunteer and help.
But you feel like in your face, you need things like a little excuse saying, I have MS, please leave me alone. But people don't see that. People think, look, I'm a perfectly healthy person. Why are you helping us?
You're not in a wheelchair. I mean, I've had people say that. Oh, I think actually my husband, when he told his work colleagues, one of the women said, oh, have you got a wide hallway? Because you're going to need it for the wheelchair.
Oh, wow.
Why would you even say that to you? I said, I cannot believe that. I said, you just wouldn't say that. And that like set me off at the time, because it was very new and I was just bawling my eyes out.
Yeah, it's not very helpful. Some of the things do not very helpful at all.
No.
Or bordering on mean actually as well, because not everyone gets in wheelchairs. I think I read an article of MS. 10% of people get wheelchairs. So we don't have to. I've had MS now 25 years in no wheelchair. Had times I've been in one, but I've been out of them now, and I'm not in it now. So there's not a fait accompli at all that you've been in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, when you've had to go to hospital, what happens? Because I almost steel myself for that. Like, is it something, a new lesion comes up and causes issues that you have to go and have steroids? Is that what like hospital stays are about?
Well, for me, hospital stays have been either really bad relapses, especially being in like a wheelchair, or I've been to lots of hospitals having just IV steroids. I've had steroids. I remember 1 year, near the beginning of the whole process, I had steroids 8 times that year. So 8 episodes in hospital, doing 8 steroids, 8 lots of steroids. And that was a bad year. That was a really bad year. I got sicker and sicker and sicker. And by the end, I was worse again. But it is what it is. It was a long time ago.
What helped you through that time?
That's a good one. What helped me? I think that's a good question. What helped me then? That was 1999. So it was probably the year 2008 times hospital. So probably 21. I know. By the end of 2000, I was this is my story. At the end of 2000, I was getting healthier, and up until then, my neuro said to me, Claire, you can't have babies because you do sick to have babies. I said, well, I was no baby. So then at the end of 99, I had IVF to having children. So I had IVF at the end, and I was healthy. From then on, I was healthy for like 5 years, no relapses at all. Had 3 babies, boom, 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 babies. And then in 2006, I had the biggest attack ever, because I believed I had all these babies and the health you get through being pregnant. I felt perfectly fine for years and years. But the backup of, I think what happened is the attacks kind of queued up themselves in a corner waiting to attack me. And then after baby 3, I had this giant attack. And that's in 2006.
Having your children.
Yes, 2006 was a bad year.
That's post-test. Because I had to have IVF to have my daughter too, so I know what that's like. But I did it for years after to try to get more, but it didn't work for me. But yeah, it's interesting that So did you do that for 3 of your children?
Ironically, the first 2 I did, the first 2 IVF. But the third one was like a gift from God, or he just arrived. It's a miracle. He just arrived. And I remember that was a horrible story. When I was first found out pregnant, I was number 3. I remember saying to my husband, and he's now passed away. I said to him, I'm not sick. I'm not dying of cancer. I'm pregnant. He goes, how did that happen?
And the story I think Claire's told me this one before, was it you were 5 months pregnant and you didn't know and you thought you had cancer?
I thought I had cancer. I've been to a GP. It's in England. I've been to a GP, my local in Fulham. My GP said to me, you have fallopian tubes, tumours, fallopian tubes. You need to go to the hospital right now. And I was crying in the car, driving to the hospital, going, I'm dying of cancer. I'm like, oh my God. And I drove to go to the hospital, and I went to see my obstetrician, my OB, my doctor. He said, he went on the table, he goes, you're not sick of cancer. You're pregnant, and you're 5 months pregnant.
Oh,
and I had no idea. And then I felt very silly because I thought, Cleve had 2 babies already. You should know these things. I had no idea, 0 idea. And I'd done these stupid diets to maybe heal the cancer. I done these diets for cancer. I was so skinny, but this poor baby inside me was growing. I don't know how he grew. He was very small. He was small.
That's amazing.
I know. So then he popped out late, or on time. But I was sick from that because he took all the good things out of my bones are wrecked and everything was wrecked from that pregnancy. But he's okay now.
And something I find really interesting that Claire speaks about a lot is your experience while you were pregnant was you felt really good. And I wanted to know if this was the same for Naomi, if you felt like you almost felt your symptoms were gone.
They were gone. I felt miserable. How did you feel your pregnancy with your daughter? Did you feel well?
See, I didn't have it then because she's 12. But who knows? I remember when after she was born, I would get this stabby pain on my left-hand side, and I still get it. It's like a little knife that just constantly dig in my side. And I remember I've Googled it and I've asked the doctor, and I said, well, could that be like an early MS sign? Because I still get it to this day, this stabby pain, and she said it actually could be because a recurring pain like that, the stabbing sensation, is also associated with MS. So I don't even know how long I've had all these symptoms for because I just shrugged them all off, as we do. We just think they're just
the women's things.
So yeah, I had her prior to anything MS. But yeah, I struggled. I tried for a long time to get pregnant and couldn't. So I think when I got MS, I'm like, everything has been a struggle. So I kind of went, do I have to have another struggle? And then I'm like, well, it's not too bad. I'm actually okay. It's just because you know how everyone calls it like a battle, and sometimes I think I've just got to give in a bit more to my body rather than battle my body. I don't want to battle. I just want to, it doesn't mean I give up, but I don't want to fight. I just want to keep calm.
It's good. No, be grateful for what we can do too.
And almost like surrendering to your body and going, it's doing the best it absolutely can to keep you healthy.
It's hard, and it works really hard.
Do you follow a diet, or what do you eat?
Anything. I don't do a diet. I eat crisps and wine a lot, which is bad, but I don't follow a diet. But those horrible, but they're very difficult diets, but I don't do them. But I eat, I don't eat any meat.
No, either do I.
I don't. Some things I don't eat because my body doesn't like them, like onions and garlic don't agree with me at all. I like them though, but I don't like them. They're not good for me. I try and avoid too much milk because that doesn't agree with me either. I have a little bit in my coffee, that's all, but nothing else.
I don't do dairy.
Yeah, but I don't do the diet because I'm too lazy to do the diet. I think I like food too much.
It's so hard. I bought all that stuff. I bought the medical medium and the celery juice and all that. I'm like, I can't do this. Like the juicing and that was painful. I'm like, I can't do it. Like I kind of follow. I mean, I don't eat meat or dairy or anything anyway. I don't like it, and I love animals, so not interested. But I couldn't do all the diets. And it would cost a fortune getting the amount of celery that you're meant to juice every day.
I think life's already hard enough for them. MS is hard enough by itself. Doing these diets to me, I feel like I'm already ignoring lots. I'm already withholding lots of good things. I'm not going to do any more. So it's already hard enough.
I'm a true believer. If it feels right and you've got balance, like it can't be bad. You know, you got to listen to your body. We're all so individually different, like the illness, everyone suffers differently. And yeah, I'm sure there is a lot of, you know, I love my health and it's all about it. But
And food.
I love food. But if you're eating food that feels good to you, you know, it's going to be doing good in there, you know. And celery, if you get an organic celery and that's only 2 juices from one big celery, it's so expensive.
Yeah, there's so much money, exactly.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just mental.
To be healthy, it costs money.
Yeah.
Ironically, it should be free, but it's not. It's to be healthy and be pure, it costs money.
And there's something that I was wanting to ask you, Naomi, which I think a lot of people could probably relate to, is the struggle with the doctors and feeling like, you know, you're being passed around and not getting the answer. What's some advice maybe you'd give some people who, you know, first being diagnosed that are struggling with that too?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the end, trust yourself, believe your gut. I just kept shopping around because I could not agree that what they were saying was like, I knew, you know, when I knew something was wrong. And sometimes other people go, you stop being negative. It's because of your mum and your sister and you've got this health anxiety and you've got to stop thinking that you've got something wrong with you. And I'd be like, no, but I know. And I've still got all the reports from other doctors that have said one doctor said, I remember my tingling in my hands was from eczema and psoriasis and it had gone through to my nerves. So that's why, like,
They were wrong.
Everyone was reluctant to refer me to a neurologist or get a brain scan or to get something done. They just kept, so I'd just be like, trust yourself and just go to different doctors, because I was glad. Even a neurologist I couldn't trust at the end of the day. I mean, she sat there, and in fact, I remember the phone call when I rang her and I said I was that day I was drinking a lot because my GP had said you've got MS first, and then the neurologist, my first neurologist, rang and said, no, you don't. You've got spots on your spine and your neck. But I've shown the other guy, my other professor or whatever who owned the practice, and he said, yeah, whatever. Sometimes you can get spots from sports, whatever they called them. And she said, so you can relax, you know, and that conversation. And I remember that day I was just drinking red wine to try and calm myself. And I said to my husband, she said, I don't have it. And he's like, see, so just chill out a bit.
Oh, wow. No, they were wrong.
It felt like it was all, So, and I kind of knew in my heart, I knew that something was wrong. I knew it wasn't just.
And trust yourself. I think it's good.
So I just believe in yourself and trust yourself, because your instincts are normally correct. Do you know what I mean? And even I would Google it to the point, and I'm sure everyone's done this, and it says if you've got numbness and tingling. But the doctors all said to me, you don't have it, you have it uniform. You have it in hands and feet. That is not MS. You only go numb down one side. And that's not true. Because Christina Applegate, I listened to the Messy podcast.
Me too. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and heaps of, and I'm like, how does Google know more than what the doctors know? I don't get it. They've gone to university and studied the brain and neurology and nerves and everything. But you know what I mean? I'm still at a loss that they wouldn't have thought, oh, her brother's got MS, which I told them all, maybe she might have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they record it, like, because I was going to doctors in 2020. So it took 3 years to 2023 to get diagnosed.
Yeah, it's a story. A lot of people get the diagnosis into a long drawn out process.
And it's so hard because you can't help but give your power over and you be in their hands, because you've got no other choice. And then when you feel like you're almost just another number, you know, the doctors are amazing. They're there to help you. But it's something, especially with autoimmune diseases, it's a lot of people go through this, and it's like 3 years of your life. That's suffering.
3 years. Oh, that was the other one I forgot to tell you. The other one doctor said I had too much vitamin B6 in my system, and that causes tingling and peripheral neuropathy. So don't have my vital greens, which is what I was having. So they all had some sort of reason for why I was getting these, you know, the pain and the nerve pain and the tingling and things like that.
They were trying to convince themselves with their knowledge. They were wrong.
Yeah, I like what you said, trust your instinct, especially women do suffer more from this, and we do, like, as women have this really innate knowing and instinct, and you've got to stick to your guns and find a practitioner that works well for you. And I'm glad that you got there in the air, because it's scary when in the unknown.
Oh, it is so scary. And even still, like I was saying to Claire before, that my current neurologist is lovely, but she didn't say you should ring up the MS person. And this, like, no one gives you a little leaflet and says you've got this really big, scary disease now. This is what you can do to help yourself, or register with the MS network. Like, I had to look up all this stuff. I didn't even know you could get a card that said I've got MS, and if I need to use the bathroom or I need to I sort of got told all that just from finding out myself.
No.
And I think that's awful. Like, I think there's a gap in the system that someone should be there to support people and guide them a little bit.
There used to be MS nurses in the country. There's loads in England. I know that because I've had lots in England. But here, MS nurses were around. But I don't know which government it was. It was like, I think 8 years ago, governments stopped paying them. They stopped funding people to have MS nurses. MS nurses are very few and far between now. There was one around here, apparently, but I've never seen one here ever. So they are around, but I've been told I tried to make a group here, like an MS group around this area here in Byron. And I spoke to various people in various communities. And I was told, we found one for you. It's in Sydney. So I'm in Byron. Sydney's a bit far for me to go for a meeting. No, but the one nearby you in Sydney is not nearby, idiot. I said, they didn't help me. So I was going to make one here in the house. I thought about having a group here.
Which is a great idea because it's so lovely to talk to other people that have got it and know what you're talking about. Because even I find my husband doesn't really get it.
No, he won't.
He compartmentalizes like, oh yeah, you've got it, but you're okay. You're okay. And he doesn't realize that sometimes I said to him, I can't walk through every day going, this hurts, my hand's tingling, that one feels it's on fire, my muscles feel like they're going to collapse on me. Of course I'm not going to do that. Women, we just don't do that. You couldn't live like that.
We need to put up with things all the time.
Got to understand that's what is going on in my body.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
And it's so important to speak to other women, especially like even this is quite new for you as well, Claire, speaking to other women who suffer.
I have one friend who's been on this podcast before, Lena. We talk about MS because she's MS too. We talk about that a lot, but apart from her and now you, I don't really talk to many girls with MS at all, which is kind of bizarre. I would have thought there'd be like a little community of girls, so people, not girls, people having MS chats and MS bitching. It is bitch about things. Bitch about the disease, which is healthy.
Which is great. You need to do it.
You need to vent. Venting is nice and
feels
good.
Really what the podcast is now.
The podcast is like a venting process now. Just get it out there.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's, you need to, and I didn't talk to many people apart from this one girlfriend that I dipped with every day. Well, I talked to other girlfriends, but this one girl, because I was seeing her every day in the water, I would just like, sometimes cry in the water, whatever, and I just let it all out. And fortunately, she has a cousin, I should say, with MS, so she had a little bit of knowledge about it as well. So she was sort of that steady, helpful person that doesn't go into that, flighty, nervous mode, crying themselves. She's like, "You're going to be all right. It's going to be good."
Isn't it funny, your friend, the person you met now, but the girl, she's a cousin with MS. Isn't it bizarre how when you meet people or friends you have, everyone knows someone with MS? It's just most people have one person with MS, and it's very what's the way to go. It gets all types. It gets boys, girls, any type of person gets it. It doesn't distinguish between all types. Just anyone gets it. So you get all types coming to that disease. And it's nice to have a little group of people with MS. But everyone be different from all different creeds, all different types. To have a little discussion about just a little place to chat about things. I think I'd like to do that.
Because you need it. And I've noticed on Instagram there's a lot of young girls that I've connected with that have got MS, and they're the ones that are doing all this amazing, like themselves doing the research, and they'll be posting it. And so they're like, because they're all so savvy with technology and stuff now. I'm just like barely on, Instagram. I know Instagram, but like they know how to do reels and all these sort of things. And so there's a few girls that are, all over it. And I don't know. I'm just like, God, they're good. They're finding out what the research is and they're posting it and they're really open and they tell their workplace, and they're only 25. And I know that was when you were the same sort of age, weren't you?
I was 28 when I got diagnosed, but now I'm 54. Am I? 54. 54, yeah, 55. So it's been 25 years, I know that. And in that time, in 25 years, when I first got it, there were no drugs. Now there's tons of drugs. So people, I always say, I met a girl.
No drugs at all.
There was the drug that was just the one in Australia. There was one drug out called interferon. Back then, 25 years ago, interferon, horrible drug, but it worked kind of, not for me, it didn't work, but anyway, but the drug back then was very experimental. I don't think it helped me at all, but I was there, it was available. But when I got diagnosed, there was not much thought about it, not much help, not much discussion ever about it. But I think that people now, I met a girl, one of our movie premieres, I had a Q&A afterwards, and I met a young girl she's 15, diagnosed, awful, so young. Wow. And we spoke, I've talked to her since, and she, I said to her then that in people who are 15 getting it now, if they are 15, but the DMD, disease-modifying drugs that are out there now, girls with diagnosed now will be okay because the treatments now are so good that they'll never be like me. They'll never get this sick ever again because it's going to be sort of nipped in the bud soon, much faster than with me. So I think I'm like a before and an after. I'm like, this is how it could be, but now you've these drugs on now, you'll be okay. So I tell people, you'll be okay. Just take the drugs. Don't say no drugs. Say yes to DMDs, but just and keep yourself healthy, keep yourself fit, and be positive and take drugs. The drugs.
Good advice.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I've read a couple of those of an American woman that says she doesn't take any drugs. She's got that book. I don't know if you've seen the book called Beating My MS.
Yeah.
And no, I want the drug. I want the drugs.
I think
I believe in science. I love the holistic approach to a lot of things, but I do believe in
science.
It's like
Got to go with what feels right.
It feels right, definitely. What works for you.
And you talk about your how swimming has been really massive for you, and coming to the end of this podcast, would you like to share? You've obviously had a really full-on journey with this, and you're coming to a place of feeling in gratitude. And if you just wanted to share how you've kind of found some light in all of this darkness.
Oh, definitely. No, it definitely light amongst in the darkness. I think you just look at things in such a different way. I find I've always loved animals and I love nature, but just every experience down the beach is special now. Like because I go down at 6:30, and I'm not talking about going on the beach and laying on the beach and getting a suntan like you did in your 20s. I'm talking about going at 6 when the sun's rising and being out there in the water, and it's just you're on your own, or you maybe with one other person, and you're connecting with nature in that way. So it's really given me much more of a purpose as well. And I also want to help people. I want to help other younger people with it, or talk. I feel just more caring towards people and empathetic, and I'm not as impatient in even everyday life with driving. I used to swearing at people and hurry up and I've got to get here, and now I'm like, whatever, I'll get there when I get there. And yeah, my daughter hasn't cleaned her room and she should, and yes, it frustrates me sometimes, but I've got her. And it's made me then look at people who maybe couldn't have kids as well, or didn't get that opportunity, and I was really grateful to IVF Science again helping me get her. And she's obviously my world, my husband and her, and so I'm just grateful that I'm still here. And I know it's a horrible thing to have to feel, but I'm grateful I haven't got a brain tumor like my sister and my mother. So MS is just much more manageable, I suppose, where I go, I can live a good life with MS. I can. And it has given me a purpose of just being a better human and being a better person.
We were talking before how people get diagnosed
MS. I think oftentimes because it stops you in your tracks, and you have to change and think about what's important, really counts, and what's really important to you. I think in a way, without the diagnosis, that wouldn't happen to us. So before that, I was just working hard. I keep working hard to do my things, and now I have to stop short and just think what's important to life, and things like health, family, love, the world. All these things that are more important than just your rubbish job that you had before.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be the same. I'd get my paycheck and go, oh, I want to go and buy this designer handbag or something. No, I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care. Like, I just want to be healthy and enjoy my life with my daughter and animals, and just live that a bit more wholesome life that is more connection and more feeling than just that sort of. I was a little bit I was certainly not a surface person, but do you know what I mean? Sometimes you can get caught up in a world, and I know advertising is like this, and that those corporate worlds, you sort of get caught up in it all, and I just don't care. Like I care about stuff I should care about, and it's grounded me a lot more.
Good word, grounded. It grounds you. I think the MS diagnosis grounds you because you have no choice. Which I like that in a way. I don't like disease, but it chopped you because you can't do anything else but be present and be in nature and doing things that really count now. Which is, I think it's a gift in a way.
It is, and I see it now. I didn't at first, but I definitely see it as a gift.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. Now I do.
Yeah. Or at the beginning you don't do, because you're just furious going, why me? And then I started saying, why not me? Like, a lot of other people in the world have got this, and I know my brother's got it a lot worse than me. And that gift was also having that connection back with him. He rang me and we talk regularly now. And so it's lovely to have that back. I hadn't spoken to him in 12 years. He'd never met my daughter until she was 12.
Wow.
And that's whole other story of just a silly falling out. But it's brought us, and we can talk about different experiences with our MS, and not just that, our lives and things, but it's definitely made us both go, he'll say sometimes, I was really arrogant, and I'll go, yeah, I was really stupid about this, and we're not like that anymore. We actually have, decent conversations with more depth.
It's beautiful. And I just can really feel that for people who are listening, it's important. These key pieces that keep you guys, grounded and keep you faith and with gratitude and looking at it to that positive side, that is going to mean so much for anyone who's listening. So thank you for sharing. That's really, very empowering. I'm very, very, impressed by both of you, truly.
I watched obviously your movie, and I'm bawling my eyes out, and I just loved just the way you could share your experience.
Thank you.
It's a long time, and your vulnerability in that was just such a beautiful story that is not, it's an ongoing story. We're all here. We're here.
We're still here. That's it. And there's thousands to declare, you're still here until MS is still here. It'll always be here. It's like a little annoying person in the room, little MS in the corner. It's always there. It's always a pain in the ass, but it's just part of our life. It's not everything. It's just part.
So live with it, not against it.
Yeah, not against it, just with it. Yeah.
And you never know what you're going to get. My brother and I will often talk about this. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No.
People that are perfectly healthy without MS may get something horrible tomorrow. Not that you wish that, but just saying life is unpredictable, so you actually don't know. So you've just got to live in the moment and be really, really happy with and grateful. And it sounds really sort of, because people do throw that word around a lot now, grateful, isn't it, and blessed and all that. But I think when you do have a chronic illness, you really do appreciate life so much more.
Well, I agree. That's the gift of MS, that makes you appreciate life.
Yeah, more than anyone would probably know.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. The simple things.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that's a
wrap, as you say.
That's a wrap.
Thank you both. Thank you, Claire.
Yeah. Oh, good. And we'll get your number now. I'll keep your number for sure.
Yeah.
Really good to chat too.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Claudia, you've got my number, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got it. I'll send it over to Claire.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was good talking to you. Thanks for joining our podcast.
You are awesome, Naomi. You're really, really great value.
I hope it was all right.
No, you're great.
Value. That just flowed, and everything you shared was amazing.
I always think that our podcast, my idea of our podcast is to chat.
It's like over coffee.
It's coffee chat. It's all we want to do.
Sometimes I just go blah, blah, blah.
No,
you are such good value.
It's good because I think that just chatting and being unaware of the camera on is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Just chat and just shoot the breeze.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah,
well done.
Thank you. It's great.
I love that we've got a chance to connect.
The connection's good. Thanks, Naomi. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, Naomi.
Bye.
Bye.